we are in a moment, maybe before I bring this in, let's just remember, we're in a moment where we know that Donald Trump had a relationship with Epstein, that Epstein was the one, according to him, who could take Donald Trump down. And we know that Epstein was back channeling, not just with people like Steve Bannon and Michael Wolff to tell all about Trump, but also was back channeling with people like Democrat Stacey Plaskett in her line of questioning against Michael Cohen, someone else who was actively trying to take down Trump. Epstein was plotting against Trump, and we are now supposed to believe that no foul play happened when Trump's FBI arrested Epstein and, seized all the documents from Epstein's home. And no foul play happened when on the Trump watch, Epstein met his self-inflicted demise. Sure. And this is how, look, I'm going to replay the whole of this because there's a lot to get through. But this is how, if we're not supposed to believe that any foul play happened, here is Trump's response to the foul play that happened when the Saudi government kidnapped, drugged, and killed and dismembered a journalist in their embassy. And this was Trump's response about that journalist, and as he's sitting next to MBS.
Who was president? There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion. That I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen, but he knew nothing about it.
Okay. You're talking about a gentleman who was quite controversial. Some people liked him. Some people didn't like him. And you know what? Things happen. And he had nothing to do with it. Waj, you could word for word take this being about Jamal Khashoggi and Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, I'm sorry to his family to even equate them, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Someone was offed because they were inconvenient, and things happen.
I'm really glad you're playing this, and there's a lot to play in that clip, but I think we have to focus on that. The things happen. Just stick with that. Because the things happen is what a sociopath says. A things happen is what a narcissist said. A things happen is what a nihilist says. Hey, there was a nuclear war. Everyone died. But hey, things happen. Hey, SNAP benefits ran out. But guess what? I have $5 billion in crypto. Things happen. Hey, Venezuelan fisherman died. Whoopsie, we made a mistake. Things happen. Hey, a lot of girls got raped. But guess what? I had a fantastic time in the 90s. Things happen. Jamal Khashoggi was a U.S. journalist who went to a Saudi embassy in Turkey. He was killed as he was being dismembered. He was killed because he had the audacity as a journalist to turn on Saudi Arabia and the MBS regime. MBS could not tolerate it, so he killed this journalist. And then, by the way, they effed up the cover-up. Turkey has the video. The RCIA during Donald Trump's first administration concluded that MBS knows about it. Even MBS, if you watch the rest of the clip, he seems kind of embarrassed. He doesn't say, I didn't do anything. He didn't say that. Donald Trump went out of his way to throw Jamal Khashoggi under the bus, to dehumanize him, to say, well, some people didn't like him. Well, some people don't like you. Does that mean it's okay for you to be kidnapped, say, in Qatar and dismembered? The answer, he probably would say things happen. And then furthermore,
it's a mob thing to say, Waj. It's a mob thing to say.
Hey, things happen. If you open up your mouth, things happen. And then also what he says, he goes out of his way. He admonishes the U.S. journalist, a woman, yet again, a day after calling another woman piggy. He lies about MBS's involvement. Even MBS knows he killed Jamal Khashoggi. He throws Jamal Khashoggi under the bus, which means he'll throw anybody under the bus for the right price. And then he says, MBS is fantastic on human rights. This man tortured women who simply wanted human rights. He killed Jamal Khashoggi. There's no dissidence. And he did a red-wedding coup to gain power a week after Jared Kushner left and gave him the green light in the first Trump administration.
Okay, so just explain a little bit more, because I saw you sadly on Piers Morgan talking about the red wedding. I mean, this is when MBS basically locked members of his own family in their hotel rooms and like force them to leave the country. Explain how he coalesced, consolidated his power.
There was a power grab. Mohammed bin Salman, after consulting with Jared Kushner, who was there visiting, and according to reports, gave him not only the green light, but gave him names of people to subdue and oppress. Jared Kushner leaves less than a week later. Mohammed bin Salman then does, if you will, a soft coup, locks fellow family members, people who might be against him, in a hotel, pretty much puts the pressure on them, says, okay, we could do this the easy way or the hard way. You submit, bend the knee to me and my rule. You give over some assets. If you don't, you either disappear or I take all your money. Less than a few days later, all of them say, I love Mohammed bin Salman, the greatest ruler. A red wedding coup, just like that. And then the first trip that the Donald Trump administration, the first term, remember where they all went? Saudi Arabia. And then guess who got $2 billion investment from the Saudis for his strange firm that does nothing? Jared Kushner.
Public Investment Fund and the private equity shop named Affinity Partners, by the way. And that was in 2021. And yes, then in 2022 and 2020, as Trump was out of office, there was a lot of Gulf happening between the Saudis.
And the Witkoffs just got $1.5 billion, both the father and the son. Saudi Arabia has bought up
the
Gulf.
Witkoffs did?
Yeah. So, the Gulf states have just given this big story that people missed up on, that they were there. They got 1.5 billion. And then also, let's remember that MBS famously said, I have Jared in my back pocket.
I mean, like, I don't want to be the, hey, the Saudi government funded, we're the backers of the 9/11 attacks. But they were, right? Like, I mean, what are we talking about here? He's
also a dictator. He's also a brutal dictator that killed a U.S. journalist, and our president didn't give it because he got paid off, and he's like, welcome. And all the Islamophobia, the anti-Muslim bigotry, Zoran Mamdani bringing the Islamic Caliphate. Hey, if you're a billionaire and if you give Donald Trump money, he'll sell AI to you. Hell, David Ellison is there, hardcore Zionist, hater of Palestinians, was there at the dinner. David Ellison, who gobbled up Paramount, David Ellison's daddy, who gobbled up TikTok, and now they're trying to gobble up Warner Brothers Discovery. Guess who was kissing up to the Saudis and MBS? That David Ellison, because David Ellison wants to go in with Saudis to buy up CBS and, Warner Brothers Discovery. So congratulations. We're just going to sell Warner Brothers, CNN to Saudis. Sorry for my rant.
This is just so funny because we start talking about hey, when Zionists are flooding our government with a bunch of money, it doesn't, reflect well on, the Jews in general. Like, it's pretty bad. And now it's like, it's amazing how exempt from Islamophobia the Saudis are, which is good. We should not attack them for being Muslim. We should not attack them for being religious. We should attack them for being, yes, the authoritarian, really repressive, the things, the human rights violations. That's what we should attack them for. It doesn't have to do with their religion. But it's just so funny because, like, here we are left, like, parsing, like, do you just, to your point, you see what you just did to Zoran for being Muslim? You see what you did? You see what the fucking Ellisons, like, these are people who are like, oh no, we're gonna do some cartoons making it look like Zoran's the 9/11 attackers. Here you have the actual 9/11 attackers. I mean, the country where they came from, and it's like, I don't want to play into Islamophobia, but holy, can you not see this double standard?
No, and look at Qatar. Donald Trump himself criticized Hillary Clinton because she got a donation for the 2016 election from like some Saudi billionaire, right? And so there was so much pressure that Hillary Clinton had to return. Folks, remember that? She had to return the donation. And then Donald Trump said, Qatar funds terrorism, they fund Hamas. Yes. And he said that you can see the clip. He said it openly. Oh, Qatar wants to have a resort in Doha, a Trump resort, and Qatar wants to give me a $400 million plane. Hey, Qatar, whatever it is, come by. Hey, you want to train in Idaho? I'll give you airtime facility. Qatar.
It's funny because when Kushner was more close to UAE, and they were all really pissed at Qatar for like its soft power and for like Jazeera and other, like they got Jazeera labeled as like a foreign, or they almost got it labeled as like a foreign agent. And like Kushner was all up in that deal, making sure that they were trying to oust Qatar. And Qatar was like, well, okay, we'll just buy him off too. Like that'll be our strategy. Anyway.
But the sheer naked hypocrisy, you said I was on Piers Morgan yesterday, folks, it was wild. I've had to, which is fine, like the rest of us, endure Islamophobia, anti-Muslim bigotry since the war on terror. It's been so naked, so disgusting. Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Keith Ellison, and now Zoran Mamdani. And these Republicans, there were these two Republican reeks on with me, Chris Rufo and Buck Sexton, who've been all in with the Islamophobia, the fear-mongering on Mamdani. And I, as the Muslim, was saying, maybe we shouldn't let Saudi Arabia, and specifically this tyrant, buy up American democracy and American institutions, and maybe we should hold them accountable. And they were like, no, this is fantastic. Come on down, Saudi Arabia.
You should really have just said, I mean, did you point out the hypocrisy? Because I do think you should have been like, okay, imagine he's the MBS wants to run for mayor and he's a democratic socialist and wants to give everyone universal childcare. Does that change anything for you?
Well, Piers closed the show, but that was my second point. The first point I made was, wow, I've been waiting 24 years for Republicans to embrace Islam and Muslims and embrace the Islamic takeover. And then Buck and Chris's face like started contorting. I'm like, thank you for finally embracing Islam. And Piers was like, okay, that's the show.
But they basically, and again, people in the comments are pointing out it's just about being rich. And look, rules don't apply to rich people.
There you go.
Their own propaganda does not apply. Propaganda is for the pigs. Propaganda is for the rubes to, lure in with their Islamophobia. But, they can like be buddy and best friends with Muslims. That's totally fine. And, because it doesn't apply to them because they're rich enough to X themselves out of their own matrix. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.